on the OSG Sports Podcasting Network.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a post-rivalry week episode of The Review. It's the OSG Sports College Football Podcast featuring us, the online sports guys, and we are talking college football and living the outcomes of some really, really weird rivalry games where the only thing that I could think of that exemplified the entire weekend was the beginning of the Oklahoma game when they ran out onto the field and everybody fell over on top of Brett Venables.
They took the hammer out of his hand as well. Left him there.
That irony.
You got to be careful doing selfies, kids.
Mm-hmm.
That whole accident got started by a guy with a selfie stick behind him trucking him.
And they went down like dominoes.
I saw that happen once running down the hill at Clemson. It's quite comical.
Oh, and they're going down that hill. Once once one person falls, everybody falls because there's no way to stop.
Oh, it's a domino effect. I know.
Trip it up and down.
I'm going to have to check the Fail Army YouTube feed and see if we can get a good clip of that.
Mm-hmm.
I actually ran down that hill. It's steeper than you think.
I have not run down it. I've seen it in person, and it looked steep.
Yeah. Your average 45-degree angle in cleats.
On a carpet.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
On grass.
Yes, that's true.
What could go wrong?
Absolutely everything.
Guys, I'm not even sure where to start this week because there were some really, really, I wouldn't say strange, but random games that things happened that you would have never expected. And I guess you have to start with the Iron Bowl, Auburn, Alabama, a game that after last
Patty, please leave John's room for this part.
Yes, please.
After last week when Auburn got hammered by New Mexico State and Alabama cruised over UT Chattanooga, wouldn't have thought this game would have been close, but yet here we were late in the game. Auburn has the lead. Alabama gets the ball with seconds to go in the game, somehow ends up in a 4th and 31 situation.
Snap.
And then chaos.
So first of all, it's proof to me that Auburn was looking past New Mexico State.
Trap games are real.
I know. Second of all, it's the Iron Bowl. Things happen. Even if it's a lousy Alabama or a lousy Auburn team, things happen. It's
10-year anniversary of something happened.
Mm-hmm.
It's the nature of that rivalry. How many articles have you seen or posts have you seen about games in the past where something strange has happened in that rivalry? All rivalry games have those legendary moments. And just so happened we got to see several in one game yesterday on the Plains.
In a very short period of time.
That rivalry leads the league in those moments.
And it's one of those games where I just couldn't get away from the television.
No.
Every snap was insane.
Well, I think what you've seen from an Alabama standpoint is they have problems defending the run. And Auburn exposed that by running at one point 270 yards on the ground. And if anybody wants to run the football against Alabama, Georgia, University of, there will be problems for Alabama. They were exposed yesterday in a bunch of different ways. Full disclosure, in the time that the boss and I have been dating and or married, I have seen the comeback, the kick six, and now Gravedigger.
Yeah.
I've seen these three. I've been to these three events in the time that the boss and I have been together. And you look at what happened yesterday, and I mean the push off from the wide receiver was perfect. Just gave enough space. And Milroe had a fantastic throw to a spot, and it just continues to add to the chaos of this rivalry that you have a game that was as close as this was, and it ended the way that it did. But yeah, Alabama defensively had issues against the run. They had issues against run and tempo. and they got exposed on a bunch of different levels, and you end up with the absolute chaos that you finish with there. And it shouldn't surprise anybody that the Iron Bowl finished in chaos.
Would you want it any other way?
Yeah.
Exactly. And to me, Jalen Milroe was looking at two receivers that had single coverage on them. And those were the two targeted, and he made the perfect toss to the back of the end zone. And again, adds to the lure. And I got a marketing idea for Alabama for next week's game. Rent the monster truck Gravedigger and let that lead the team out on the field at Mercedes-Benz on Saturday in the SEC title game. Wouldn't that be epic?
Yeah.
Maybe get the Undertaker meme on the side by the door.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
It would, and if anything in the world would cause Mercedes-Benz Stadium and Atlanta Falcons owner Arthur Blank to have a heart attack, that would be it.
Monster trucks, yeah.
It's on brand for the area, though.
Well, they used to have the monster truck event at Georgia Dome.
Yeah, but that was when Georgia.
Worked it.
That was when the Georgia Dome had cement and AstroTurf that masqueraded as cement. This is like a gazillion-dollar building now, and
Yeah.
I don't know if you can fit a truck through one of the
You'd have to bring that in without the wheels.
Yeah, you'd have to find a way to bring it in and then reassemble it, because I don't think you can bring it in.
Marketing opportunity.
But symbolically, I get what Wilkie's saying. Yes, it would be absolutely freaking hilarious and a whole heck of a lot better than
Mark Calloway to come in and do the Undertaker bit.
Oh,
whole heck of a lot
worst have that outside tailgating.
Mhm.
ATV.
Yeah.
The other crazy rivalry game is one that Marty probably is still grimacing a little bit. Ohio State and Michigan. Michigan.
I'll try not to get us an explicit rating on this episode.
Why not?
Michigan gets the win. I know Marty will bring up several things that probably would be questionable in that game, but I think at the end of the day, Michigan's just a little bit better of a team than Ohio State was this season. They did enough. The play calling by the head coach, the substitute head coach for Michigan was excellent.
Oh, like he didn't have an earpiece that didn't have contact with khaki. Come on now.
For those that aren't in the industry, every intercom, like Clearcom, you can hook up to a phone or an app. So if he was at home, it was just so he had better internet.
I will tell you this: Sharon Moore has had a great audition to be a head coach somewhere else.
Yep.
Going 4-0.
If he doesn't get a show cause.
Well, that too.
Just saying.
There's that in the mix, but I mean, he's had a perfect audition if anybody wants to hire him. I mean, he's beaten Penn State, he's beaten Ohio State now. Some say he out-coached Ryan Day, and I'm not sure if that's the case.
Hard to tell though, because Harbaugh still coached throughout the week, so like all the prep was Harbaugh's, so it's really hard to tell to get a read on him.
Well, as an in-game guy, I mean, you can't dispute that.
Oh yeah, he did a great job, no doubt there. Yeah, I was bummed out by like not trying to be a little more aggressive for Ohio State at the just before halftime, and then that call in the end zone on the touchdown that got pulled away. That was a heartbreaker. That was rough.
The 50-50 call.
That was a 90-10. That was the officials going, do you think we could get out of here safely if we reverse this? No? Okay.
It's 50-50 for those of us without a vested interest in the game.
The vested interest on that call was getting through the parking lot to your car and getting out of there safely.
It ends up Michigan gets the win. Ohio State's hopes crushed for another season. It moves on to the conference playoffs. Some other games of interest over the course of the week or the weekend. Did you guys see the end of the Oklahoma State BYU game? A game BYU kind of sort of had in hand, and then somewhere Oklahoma State found what they needed to find in order to come back and win, outscoring BYU 14-3 in the fourth quarter, and then 2 touchdowns in overtime to get the win.
Yeah. An interception at the end by OSU to secure it, go to the title game. It's kind of par for the course for the kind of season OSU's had, where they're an ultimate slow starting team and all of a sudden kicks into gear sometime in the second half. And it's bode well for the Cowboys. And they got a shot to win the Big 12.
Watch them go in there and take out Texas. That'd be hysterical.
Yeah, you don't know what team you're going to see with OSU. I mean, you just have no clue with Oklahoma State. And they could be, because they've got the talent to be as good as Texas.
They do, and they got a roll going right now.
They got a roll going, and they're going to bring some people to Dallas for the title game because that fan base travels well.
I hope they do. I got tickets to that game. That should be fun.
Indeed, it will. And the winner gets a replica WWE title belt.
And the halftime show brought to you by Nelly.
No, not me. No, not me. Not happy.
It would be kind of interesting to see you try to perform at halftime, John.
You don't want that. You don't want that smoke. You don't want that smoke.
Another rivalry game, close nail biter, the Apple Cup in Seattle, Washington. Washington ekes out the win 24-21 over Washington State. Some interesting play calling with Washington coach Kalen DeBoer going for it on 4th and 1 from his own 29 late in the game.
Great call, though. Great call.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, gutsy, but great call. Pitching it outside, and that led to the game-winning field goal.
That took some balls.
It did. I'm just happy that they're going to continue the Apple Cup.
Props to them for that.
Yes.
Exactly. I mean, that's a great rivalry. You know, Washington State has been kind of hit and miss this year, but they were ahead against UW, and you got to keep a rivalry like that alive. The Apple Cup is special up in the Northwest. And I'm just happy to see that they've come to an agreement to keep it going.
Are you listening, ADs? This is you have one job. Rivalries are a big part of that job.
And for all the talk about Washington and Michael Penix, arguably the best player on the field that day, yesterday, and over the course of the season, probably the best wide receiver in college football, not named Marvin Harrison Jr. Rome Odunze. I'm probably not pronouncing that.
You're close. You got it.
You got it.
Yeah.
Good enough for a podcast.
He was the guy who made something out of nothing, a 23-yard run on that reverse. Huge game for him. 7 catches, 120 yards, a couple touchdowns, 73 catches on the year from Mr. Odunze.
Yeah, he's been a key part of the Husky offense. And when you're in a situation like Washington was in, 4th down, game on the line, you give the ball to your best player and see what happens. And good things happen when you give it to your best player. And that's the reason why the Huskies won. Now it's on to play Oregon in the Pac-12 championship game.
In Vegas.
Yeah, in Vegas.
In Vegas. I wish I would have got tickets to that one.
Yeah, me too.
Now, what do you think Penix was saying when he was hiding his head at the end of the game?
I don't think we can print it without getting the explicit rating.
That was I saw that. I was watching the replay and I was like, oh my God. Then it just crossed my mind, like, what is he saying in there? That would have been a perfect mic'd up segment.
Yep.
Winner of that game, Washington and Oregon likely going to the college football playoff.
Yeah, it's definitely a playoff game right there.
Yeah.
One other team with college football playoff aspirations, the Florida State Seminoles. They take on interstate rival, the Florida Gators. Wasn't always pretty. Probably not a game where there's going to be a big breakdown of some incredible highlights because there weren't a lot of them. Florida State gets the win 24-15. They do just enough to watch the Florida Gators kind of self-implode and may not make it for a bowl game this year because they're 5-7 now.
Yeah. Biggest thing, it took at the half, if my memory serves, Florida State only had 91 yards of total offense.
Oh, they were awful in the first half.
And I think it took a little while for Tate Rodemaker to get adjusted to what they were asking him to do. Even through the Malachi crunch that happened in the second half. I don't think I've ever seen a double targeting call before. And that one certainly would have.
First time for everything.
And so it was, I wonder how protocol is going to be for Tate this week and getting ready for the ACC championship game. That's always going to be a concern going up against Louisville. They're in for a tough one with a backup quarterback going up against a top 10 team. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think that this probably is it for Billy Napier. And you're going to have the impatience of everyone at the University of Gainesville who is going to want heads to roll, and it's going to end up being Napier's because you didn't go 5. You went 5-7. You didn't get to a bowl game, and the frustrations obviously lead to the head coach, regardless of who's really at fault.
So he's going to get fed to the Gators, is what you're saying?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah,
They'll take him out some dirt road in Ocala and sit there and try
they're gonna grab him at the swamp and drop him at a swamp.
Yes. Yeah. Change your article. Yeah, that's true.
Kind of feels the guy. He was dealt a horrible hand.
Yeah.
Irrelevant to the argument.
Yeah, exactly.
Logic does not apply.
No. Does not apply in that case.
I mean, it's another losing season for Florida, and that's unacceptable in Gatorland. But with Florida State, I'm interested to see where they're ranked in the college football playoff this week, heading into the ACC title game. Because if they win that ACC title game, no matter how it's won or what the flow of the game, whether it's a blowout or a close one, if they're undefeated, the playoff committee has to take them for the playoff.
Sure.
Do they?
Yes, they do. I mean, you've set that precedent. And I think it'd be a terrible precedent, even going into the 12 team playoff, if you put an undefeated team in the ACC and not put them in the college football playoff simply because they lost their starting quarterback, who was in the Heisman Trophy race. That sets a dangerous precedent.
But
if you're factoring in outside stuff, like a backup quarterback, I just want to say it worked out okay for Ohio State when they're back up. Their third string went in. But if you're going to factor in the outside stuff, how does Michigan's possible show cause coming not factor in? If I was a Florida State fan,
exactly.
I'd be pissed.
How many times have we seen a one-loss team in a 4-team playoff? Obviously, with the 12 team, it's going to be different. But how many times have we seen a 1 or a 2-loss team from a more powerful conference hop into the Final Four, regardless of results that happen on Championship Saturday?
I'm just going to go and say it outright. If they were an SEC team, this wouldn't even be a discussion.
Right. You're right.
Bias is real.
But they're an ACC team, and the star of their team, who would get eyeballs for the playoff games, is out for the season. And now you've got a serviceable backup, but not somebody you can market. And again,
and that
back to the college football playoff, it's all about getting the eyeballs.
I love me an underdog.
Yeah, don't sleep on the Seminoles. If they beat Louisville, who is coming off a 38-31 loss to Kentucky in the Battle of Kentucky this weekend, I still think they're in.
Props to Stoop for staying at Kentucky, by the way.
Yes. Well, according to Billy Liucci over at Tex Ags, I'm going to get the wording correct here. Liucci, Stoops was tabbed as the next head coach and had even begun telling people he was leaving. A&M's final approval had not been granted by the board. The board was aware of the revolt from the fan base and killed the deal. Mike Elko or Elijah Robinson appear to be the favorite to take over next. Worth noting, according to 3 Tech, players are asking for E-Rob to be the next head coach.
And I really wouldn't expect Mike Elko to be the head coach at Texas A&M, simply because I think he has a good thing going at Duke. And he really could walk on water there. He's really upgraded the talent there. And in this NIL and transfer portal era, it's possible for someone like Duke to have winning seasons consistently and get the 10 wins quicker than they had in the past. And I think he kind of sees that. And why would you want to go in the mess of Texas A&M? He saw it firsthand when he was Jimbo Fisher's defensive coordinator.
He wants to have the same job more than 2 years.
Right. So I'm
He's
not
a
sure Mike
millionaire either
Elko's a
way.
done deal. I'm curious to see if Dabo Sweeney's getting play. Because remember, he has a very close relationship with Gene Stallings, and Stallings has got some influence at Texas A&M. Don't know if it's eroded much with that new bunch at A&M, but I'm kind of looking toward that part to see if that influence from Gene Stallings is having any effect on maybe Dabo Sweeney looking at the job.
See, I've heard Dabo's name out there, but you got to wonder if his unwillingness to dip into the portal would affect them wanting to take him, because they're going to have so many people. Soon, what day is it? The 3rd or the 6th of December that the portal opens?
I think it's the 6th.
So so you've got 10 days between the time that we're talking and the time that the portal opens. And if I'm gonna have a coach, I want a coach that wants to think about bringing folks into the portal and that kind of immediate turn that you can have. Someone who is stuck back in the old school days of, either they're my guy or they're not. That doesn't fly these days. And you're seeing the successes of the portal, regardless of what we think about it. You're seeing the successes of what it means to have people who are portaling and what they can do to your program. And having someone who doesn't believe in that, you're going to be caught behind everybody else.
Not to mention, they are going to have some holes to fill at A&M, because everybody gets a free pass to leave out of there.
Mhm.
They're gone.
Yeah.
They're all hired guns that went there anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
they've got no loyalty. They've got nothing to sit around for. Do I want to sit here and not know what's going to happen next year? Or, hey, Ohio State needs a lineman, I'll jump over there because I know that team's got some talent. Or, hey, Dion, I know I'll get some NIL deals over there. Jump over to Colorado because they're going to be going after some guys.
Speaking of A&M, they ended on a sour note, losing 42-30 against LSU. Just come on, dog.
Jaden Daniels and your Heisman Trophy race.
This segment is brought to you by a dog that's angry that he didn't get a puppy pick this week.
I mean, Jaden Daniels continues to reinforce, what was it, over 300 yards of total offense in 38 snaps for Jaden Daniels out of the blocks. Insane what he is doing there at LSU, basically carrying them over the finish.
Rushing them.
Well, let's see what Bo Nix does in the championship game, Pac-12 championship game, because that's going to have some influence. Because right now it's between him and Jaden Daniels. Both are just had special seasons. And although Jaden Daniels is, let's just say he's performed miracles for a very mediocre LSU team.
Yeah, you really got to factor in what they're doing with what they got. And what's the saying about chicken salad?
Yeah, you've got a coach.
He's definitely done that in the Bayou.
You got a coach with a fake Southern accent.
They're a team that can score with
defense.
Just they can't stop anybody.
Yeah. Like I said, you got a coach with a fake Southern accent and a fake defense, and their quarterback is pushing and pulling them through everything.
Just outscoring people.
Mm-hmm. Why not? If that's what you got to do to win, that's what you're going to do. And that's why, right now, Jaden Daniels is doing some amazing things. And yeah, I mean, it is insane when you look at his productivity, and still the numbers in the final scores are what they are because of what Jaden Daniels is having to do. Just think of what they would be without Jaden Daniels.
God, if we had him at Ohio State, Jesus. Even with the line we have.
Got to talk about a team who's finished arguably as strong as any team in the country at the end of the season. The Arizona Wildcats. Just absolutely laid the smackdown on Arizona State. 59-23 win.
Everybody does.
Have been
leaving.
The question I have is, how long does Jedd Fisch stay there? He's totally rebuilt that program within this is his 3rd season in it with the Wildcats, and they've done nothing but improve.
Wow. So if you give a coach time, they do well.
Yeah, and I'd say he stays for a while, because that's a really good job, the Arizona job. They got a great fan base. They're moving into the Big 12. They've got a lot of momentum going their way heading
A
into
very
Big
winnable
12.
Big 12 next year.
Yeah, very winnable Big 12. To me, they have the makeup of a Big 12 program. And yes, they're going to do well in that conference. And if I'm Jeb Fish, I'm staying there because, again, the fan base there is spectacular.
Who's going to be a challenge for him in the Big 12 next year?
And no question. I mean,
Probably Oklahoma State. That's about it.
Oklahoma State try to outscore people and have a street fight with BYU just to survive.
a couple other games of note as we kind of wrap things up here on the first block of the review. Despite all the dog noise in my house, Northwestern finishes the season 7-5 with an interim coach. They beat Illinois in their finale 45-43.
Of course they would. In a game against Burt with an interim coach, with a total being what it is, you have 88 total points. Of course you do. Of course you do.
Burt gonna Burt.
And guys, did you get a chance to watch any of the Kansas State Iowa State game?
Farmageddon, yes, in the blizzard.
Farmageddon was amazing.
That's football. That is football.
Mm-hmm. And you got a running back who was 11. You had 11 for 260 and 3 scores. Just going into the fourth quarter, it was ridiculous what they were doing there. It was fantastic.
How many yards is that in normal weather?
Abu Sama for Iowa State runs the ball 16 times for 276 yards and 3 touchdowns in this game.
Yeah.
And all of his touchdowns were 60, 71, and 77 yards.
First, I think in Division I history that you had a guy with 370-plus yarders in one game.
Yeah, it's he's the ultimate home run hitter.
The Dave Kingman of college football. There's your Google reference for today.
So his single game stats are better than Iowa stats for the team for a half of a season.
That is absolutely correct.
And Spencer Tillman, who was doing the game for Fox, had a great comparison between him and Walter Payton in the fact that they're tightly wound. And you watched him run, the Iowa State back, and yes, he's got that very similar gait to Walter Payton. Keeps the ball tight, short, fast strides. Probably lowers his head like Walter Payton does in traffic. I thought it was a great comparison.
We've got about 5 minutes left to go here in the first block of the review, guys. We talked about some games. We kind of touched on some of the coaching carousel rumors that are already floating around out there. As we record this, the only job that has been lost so far on Carousel Sunday here in the world of college football is Tom Allen being fired from Indiana. The question is, who else
coaches every year?
Who else is going to be jumping on the carousel here?
Wouldn't shock me if UCLA got rid of Chip Kelly.
Yeah.
They
especially after that loss to Cal.
Yeah, they step up. They beat USC in the their crosstown rivalry, and then just lay an absolute egg against Cal.
Indiana owes Tom Allen $21 million.
Not bad. I think Baylor's
making more than Tim Allen now.
I think Baylor's going to make a decision on Dave Aranda.
Yeah.
Pretty soon. So those are the two I can, off the top of my head. I think I really commend Michigan State for making a really good, bold hire and getting Jonathan Smith out of Oregon State. And I understand why Jonathan Smith wants to make the move with Oregon State kind of in limbo right now.
Yeah.
But those facilities in Corvallis are stunning. So whoever the new head coach is there, it's a little treacherous right now because they don't know what their landing spot's going to be. But he walks into a palace and that he can sell recruits. But again, he's got a tough sell with the program in limbo.
Do you guys see what's up with the Mountain West?
Yeah, the computers are going to decide who's in the title game and where it'll be hosted?
Oh man,
San
let me
Jose-
run downstairs and get my BCS hat.
Yeah, San Jose upset UNLV. So that
White
means
tie.
two of them in Boise are all at 6-2. And so instead of doing tiebreakers that we're all used to in high school football, like point differential and things like that, they're just going to hand
And
a computer.
Oh,
yeah,
great. It's going to be decided by artificial intelligence.
exactly.
Computer rankings will
Yes.
identify the two highest ranked tier teams to participate in the championship game. Once those two teams are identified, the head-to-head result will determine the host.
Hey Google, who's going to be in the Mountain West playoff?
I found this on the web.
You don't know either.
Wow.
So how is the computer going to pick the winner?
If the Google
Or
machine
who's gonna play?
the computer
Or
going
where
to
it's
All
going
right.
to be?
During our break, I'm going to look around for my Commodore 64, and we're going to get this taken care of.
And what if the powers that be in the Mountain West don't like the matchup?
Yeah. What,
Can they go back to point differential?
Yes.
what criteria do they put in there? I mean, they have to tell it what they
Yes.
need, it needs to make the decision based on.
Correct.
Record, barometric pressure, wind.
Select computer rankings is what the conference said in their release.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Anderson and Hester, Colley Matrix, and Massey and Wolf.
Okay.
Computer national ranking for each team's account for a fourth of the tiebreaker score, and the two teams with the best average ranking play in the championship game. There's math here. This sucks.
Okay.
So it's going to take a MIT and a Georgia Tech grad who built this program. I'm assuming, I'm just throwing out schools there that
Hey.
are engineering schools. Could be a Purdue grad, could be a Caltech grad. Who knows?
I picked my
But they're
major
going to
because there's
decide
no
who's
math.
in the Mountain West title game.
According to the four-letter, UNLV was significantly ahead of both Boise and San Jose State in all four computers and is all but guaranteed a spot in the championship game. It becomes a question of if San Jose's win over UNLV will be enough to elevate it ahead of Boise, which beat San Jose State and was nearly ahead of the Spartans in all four polls last week. If San Jose vaults Boise, it will host UNLV in a rematch due to the head-to-head win. And this is
My
after they
head's
expanded the
hurting.
This is why they came up with this idea.
Shenanigans.
Or unless somebody hacks the computer.
Yeah, really?
And if the odd man out,
Honor
can they
stout.
file an appeal?
Jesus. Just Rochambeau for it.
Flip a coin.
I'm in. Oh, wait, I forgot to do Spock.
What is that?
But what if you're the team out? Can you file an appeal?
Probably.
Probably not.
Unless you're scared of Discovery, like some Big Ten schools.
All right, guys, we're kind of running down on time here in the first block of the show. What do you say we throw it to break?
Yeah, we come back with a special guest too.
Yeah, we didn't talk about their game. We're holding on to it till they get here.
Yeah. That, college football on a budget, and a look at conference championship Saturday, all that and more. We come back for the second half for the review. Excuse me.
Please like and subscribe.
Hold on, Marty. I haven't gotten there yet. You are listening to the review on the OSG Sports Podcasting Network.
Please like and subscribe and see if I edit this out.
Over here in the OSG Sports side of things, we talk football. FOOTBALL. College football version here with the college football review every single week. But for those of you that like not just football with two O's, but football with a U, FUTBOL, there's the Soccer Down Here Network. I'm John Nelson. I host the morning show on Soccer Down Here along with Jarrett Smith, Nick Alifi, Jason Longshore. And if you're looking for the best information when it comes to the world of soccer, based in the southeastern United States, but we don't leave anything off the table. 9:05 Eastern time until 11 whenever. Sometimes we go for a while. SDH Network morning show, soccer's morning show, Monday through Friday, plus all the live events we do. It is your place and your source for soccer that is based in the Southeast, but covers everything on the world. SoccerDownHere.net, the Soccer Down Here app, available iOS and Android through our friends at Spreaker. That's like speaker with an R in the middle. Spreaker, do a search for OSG Sports. Do a search for Soccer Down Here. All the soccer content all in one place. It is the SDH Network and Soccer Down Here.
Thanks for sticking around, folks. You have made it to the second half of the show. We did lose Brother Wilkie, who had a previous engagement, but we are glad that he got to join us for the first half. Second half of the show, we normally talk about games coming in the upcoming week. We don't quite have as long of a list as we've had in previous weeks, in part because it's Conference Championship Saturday. Well, Conference Championship weekend in college football.
Yes.
We talked a little bit about coaches on the hot seat and coaches that may end up getting the axe at the end of the first block. And one coach that I did not get a chance to mention and bring up due to the lively conversation that we had, Dana Halverson at Houston.
Yeah.
He was brought in there to kind of help take that program to the next level. The Ferrara family spending a lot of money to bring him in and upgrade the facilities there at Houston, and that ended up in resulting in a 4-8 record this season.
I don't think there's enough Red Bull that can keep Dana around.
No. They kind of got a boost when they had Tom Herman for a minute, and then that kind of petered out.
They haven't been the same program since. I mean, they had some pretty good quarterbacks there for a few years, and they're just kind of existing in that point of mid-level college football programs where there's a whole bunch of teams kind of stuck at the moment.
Yeah.
A couple other interesting nuggets before we get into the games here. Looks like James Madison might actually get their wish and make a bowl game this season due to the fact that there aren't enough teams to play in the damn bowl games.
Yeah, Jacksonville State might be doing the same thing. So Jacksonville State, they didn't bring in the Attorney General of the state of Alabama. They just went about their thing. And there was a sneaky good game yesterday. For those of you that were, sickos or diehards, if you wanted to watch New Mexico State and Jacksonville State, it was a great game yesterday. Jacksonville State hadn't said a word that I'm aware of, didn't bring in their governor, didn't, sit there and stomp their feet. And it looks like
general involved.
It looks like Jacksonville State might be heading to a bowl game because of the lack of folks who are 500 or better. So Jacksonville State did the same thing James Madison did, just did it quieter, and they're going to get the same result. And people aren't going to hate Jacksonville State as much as they do James Madison because James Madison decided they wanted to run their mouths.
Yeah, usually I cheer for the underdog and a team punching above its weight. I'm cheering for one of those teams and not the other, just for the fact that they cried about it.
Mm-hmm.
It also it never ceases to disappoint me that there's so many freaking bowl games that A, they have to let teams in that shouldn't be in. B, they end up having to let in teams that are at best mediocre.
Do you think the whining with James Madison will factor into which bowl they end up in?
Oh, I hope so. Send them to
Boise.
Yeah, send them someplace where they're going to have to spend a lot of money and they might break even or
Pinstripe.
Spend.
Pinstripe. The most expensive hotel rooms and freezing their rear ends off.
There you go. I like that idea.
But they could probably drive to that one.
Yeah, Boise, you can't get
would
drive to, and there's nothing that says fun more than having to play a bowl game in Boise, Idaho in the middle of December.
They do dump French fries on you, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do. So they're
better than the mayonnaise.
Yes. If you're going to have to get food dumped on you, French fries are not a bad option.
No.
Or the Pop-Tart Bowl this year.
Well, but that's funny though. I mean, I think that you want something like you want something like sending them to Boise where they're going to freeze their butt off and end up with, something in that manner, as opposed to going someplace where they would probably enjoy themselves, something like that.
Are there any bowl games in the Dakotas?
No, just playoff games. That's another show.
This is true. Stay tuned for that.
Shall we talk about conference championship games, guys?
Yes, we should.
Sure, I think we should.
Okay. Your Friday matchups, because it wouldn't be a college football weekend without Friday games along with Saturday games. New
Right.
Mexico State at Liberty. Jerry Kills got New Mexico State in the Confusa championship game against an undefeated Liberty team that hasn't been playing like James Madison either.
And Liberty ran the schedule undefeated at 12-0. New Mexico State comes in at 10-3. I mean, the game that they had this weekend with Jax, you know, it was they were in. New Mexico State was in this game, but to beat Jacksonville State, you're like, yeah, it was a game that solidified that yes, they did deserve to be there. 7 o'clock, CBS Sports Network at Williams Stadium in Lynchburg, Virginia. Get-in price $33.
That's not bad.
We're gonna have to visit that back when we do that other segment of ours.
Yes. So, but no, I mean, I think that Liberty right now is a 10.5-point favorite. So I think that Liberty runs the table, goes 13-0, and probably finishes top 20 in the CFP.
I have to give a shout out to Liberty coach Jamie Chadwell for this reason. And I have to, as much as I don't like Liberty, I have to like them for this. Chadwell had a mariachi band in the locker room for their post-game celebration this week.
That was funny. That was funny. There, I saw a pinata in the background as well.
That's good work.
I love a good prop.
That's good. That's good local knowledge by Jamie Chadwell, beating Texas El Paso in El Paso and hiring the mariachi band. That's good local knowledge and awareness.
How did he find one?
The Google machine, I would hope.
Oh, goodness.
On
That's
Friday.
an answer on a mariachi band than it would the Mountain West Championship.
The other game on Friday has a little bit more of an impact on what could be happening in the big picture college football playoff situation. Oregon Ducks and Washington Huskies playing in Las Vegas.
Take the over first and foremost.
Yes. I don't even care what the over is. Take it.
Take it.
You're in Vegas.
Yeah.
Take it.
Take it. 8 o'clock on ABC. Number 4, as we're talking about it, number 4 and number 6 in the CFP. So if an Oregon right now is a 9.5-point favorite in this one.
That might be a bit generous.
I'd take Washington. Give me the point.
Oregon may win the game, but I don't know that 9.5. 9 might be a bit kind on the spread there.
Give me the points and give me the total. The points.
So this game's going to decide the Heisman and the Pac-12.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's going to decide the Heisman, but it's going to certainly decide the Pac-12 and one of the teams that makes it to the college football playoff. Bo Nix may be a Heisman decision in there. I don't think Penix is going to be one of those finalists at this point.
No, but I think that what it would do is it would solidify Bo Nix one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
This is you're in or you're out. And
This is a contender for the award against a contender for the award.
Mm-hmm.
There's no better showcase for that.
Absolutely.
And who wouldn't like to see a 30-year-old quarterback win a Heisman Trophy, that being Bo Nix?
I'm getting tired of the quarterbacks that are AARP instead of MVP.
Your irony alert. Yeah. Here's your irony alert. Apparently, Brian Harsin's son is a senior in high school, and he's a big recruit in the state of Idaho, whatever that means. Being recruited by the University of Oregon.
Okay.
So,
Is there enough eligibility for them to play together?
I don't know. There might be. If Bo decides to go graduate or something like that, he might sit there and could declare another year. But apparently, Harsin was at the game with Oregon yesterday.
Certainly didn't impact the performance.
No, and I just wonder what if there was any kind of conversation, did they buzz towers or anything like that? But yeah, so apparently Brian Harsin was in attendance with his son watching Oregon play football.
Yeah. Now we move on to Saturday, a full slate of college football action kicking off at noon on ABC. Your Big 12 championship game, Oklahoma State versus Texas.
I'll probably be going to that game.
Texas is an 11.5-point favorite. I don't know which version of Oklahoma State I get on a daily basis.
Yeah, I don't think they can afford
Texas, and I think they clear that. I think they clear the 11.5. I don't know what the total is, but I think that they probably want to make an example. So I think that probably go over whatever the total is and take Texas. This one could get ugly.
Will this finally decide if Texas is back or not?
No, because that's going to be an ongoing joke at least for another couple of years.
Yes. I thought Texas was already back.
And I've been thinking about getting a Texas jersey with back on the back.
Oh, there you go. Absolutely.
Baby got back and and they're definitely not Slim Shady.
It's actually Nelly. That's who's going to be the halftime show.
There you go.
The other noon kickoff on Saturday, your MAC action, Miami of Ohio, who went 10-2 this season, taking on Toledo.
Yes.
Tickets for that game, $12, guys.
Oh yeah. So yeah, we will definitely discuss that in the next segment of the show. But Toledo at 11-1, Miami of Ohio at 10-2, and Toledo's an 8-point favorite.
Toledo's been having quite the season.
Yeah, for some reason, I'm going to say that Miami of Ohio covers the 8. I think Toledo still wins, but I think Miami of Ohio covers the 8. And in front of tens of people at Ford Field, I think they get the win.
Yeah, I'll go with that. I think it'll be a close game too, but look for Toledo to eat. I like Toledo to eat this one out. The next game, a 3:00 kickoff on Fox.
It's the one we don't know yet.
All right. So I have ideas.
Okay.
So I've got my mini Commodore 64, which I believe is what is going to be used to determine the TBD versus TBD.
The definition, that is artificial intelligence.
It's upgraded though. It has HDMI and USB ports and an SD card reader.
Oh,
fancy.
We will get to the bottom of this, hopefully before they announce the pairings. How slow is the computer that's not up yet?
I want to see who wins the TBD versus TBD battle.
Oh, I know.
I want to see the spread.
Yeah.
Moving on to the afternoon games, the biggie, the SEC championship game for the last time on CBS, 4:00 kickoff. Number 1 Georgia, number 8 Alabama. We've heard this song, we've heard this dance before, guys.
Georgia is going to curb stomp Alabama. It's a 5. This will be one of the few games in the year where Kirby Smart will actually care about the number. He is going to curb stomp. They're going to run the ball like we talked about in the A block.
Student body left, student body right.
Hit him again. I mean, it's going to be a Brock Bowers showcase. 1. 2, they're going to run the ball and they're going to play, and they're going to go tempo. Those things, I mean, 2 of those 3 things I saw Saturday in the Iron Bowl. Tempo, Alabama got stuck with their fat guys out there. They couldn't change personnel. They got exposed. Second, the running game. And full disclosure, where the boss's family has their seats, it is the 30-yard line on the visitor's side, first row. So basically, I have an all 22 of the action every game that I go to. I'm literally calling the plays. I'm sitting there looking at the gaps that Alabama had in their front 3 and their front 4. And Auburn was taking advantage of those gaps. Literally, I'm sitting there looking at it and going, right guard tackle, A gap. I mean, that's all I'm doing all day long. And when they were hitting 270 yards rushing, you're hitting those gaps. You're Auburn and you're hitting those gaps against Alabama. Don't tell me that Georgia won't be doing the same thing and they'll be doing it better. Georgia could run all day. The game could be done in 2.5 hours. and the commercials would help to expand it to 3. Georgia will run the ball. They're going to run it down Alabama's throat. They're going to go tempo, and they're going to have Brock Bowers there. Ball game. They're going to curb stomp Alabama.
It's interesting.
And just 2 of those is enough for them to win that game.
Yeah, it's interesting. We didn't really talk about the Georgia game in the first half of the show when we talked about rivalry week games. They beat Georgia Tech 31-23, and they ran the ball down Georgia Tech's throat without I shouldn't say most of their best players, without Bowers, without Lad McConkey. They gave several guys who were dinged up a chance to have the week off, and they still won pretty easily.
Another game they don't care about. This week is the one that matters, and you're going to see the full strength Georgia.
Yep.
There are 3 games left in their season. All 3 of them matter. That's where we are. These 3 games matter. The SEC title game, the semifinal, and the final. This is what all of that work is leading up to. These 3 games that matter and winning those 3 games. All of this other stuff, window dressing and tweaking and working on problems. It's been problem solving to get to this point of the season where Georgia is 12-0. 12 weeks to solve problems. Put your guys in different situations. Figure out how to get out of an issue. These 3 games are the ones that matter. Alabama's in trouble.
Moving on, however, when they're in trouble is usually when they're the most dangerous.
Not this time. Not this time, brother. Not happening. And by the way, Jalen Milroe, who after the game apparently was saying, "Where's my Heisman? Where's my Heisman?" Like on the field, at the top of his lungs. Your Heisman will be in the hands of either Jaden Daniels or Bo Nix, sir. You will not even be invited to New York City.
Yeah. But props to him. Mr. Milroe has gotten better over the course of the season at Alabama.
Here's what you do. If you keep contained on Milroe, you force him to think. That's when he panics. If you don't keep contained, once again, as we saw on Saturday as an example, and he's able to create and tuck and run and go, that's the Milroe that folks get to see, and they sit there and they're like, oh, okay, that's what he can be. Keep him contained, he has to think, and that's when he makes rash decisions.
It throws the best deep ball in college football. Moving on to the SMU Tulane game, also a 4:00 kickoff on ABC. Tulane comes into the game ranked 23rd. SMU is SMU.
10-2.
What's that?
Sneaky 10-2, by the way.
Yeah, very sneaky and very quiet 10-2. Interesting
They
match.
weren't quiet against Navy, though. Ooh. They put it to them.
Interesting matchup. The game, you can get into this game for $30, guys. Not bad for a conference championship game.
We'll talk about that a little bit more later, though.
Absolutely.
Um,
Tulane's a 3-point favorite. I got to go with the home team here.
Yeah, I could see that.
No pun intended, but I'm riding the wave too. That might not make the missus happy because she's a graduate at SMU, but
Ha 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 ha. Your Fun Belt game of the week, the championship game, Appy State at Troy, 4:00 on ESPN. Appy State dismantled my Georgia Southern Eagles this past week. Unfortunately, Troy, another team that's quietly won and won some more.
10-2 Troy. That was when I looked at that, I was like, wow, Troy's 10-2.
that's gonna be a good game.
Yeah. I think that Troy gets it done. I don't know what the number is immediately, but I think that's going to be a solid game in Troy, Alabama.
Yeah, tickets not even listed on this game.
They're still trying to figure it out. What's it worth to you? Come on in.
And your night games, Michigan and Iowa for the big championship. I don't even know what
Michigan, well, first off, I don't know a total yet. Michigan's a 23-point favorite.
If Michigan scores 23 points, they'll win.
Yeah. So if they probably are going to put the total somewhere in the mid to high 30s because of Michigan scoring all the points. Iowa is going to try to absolutely muck this one up, drag it, and just sit there and just make as much of a mess of this as humanly possible. If they do, then you won't get to the total, whatever it is. But I think the total is probably going to be mid to high 30s. And but I don't know if Michigan covers it though. I mean, that's too big a number for me, especially considering what Iowa does. I mean, Iowa's a walking deflate gate when it comes to footballs. I mean, literally, we're just going to do our thing. So I don't know if Michigan gets to the 23. They probably get to the number, whatever it is, but I don't know if they get to the 23.
Yeah, with the way Michigan's tackles have been playing lately, and defense being a strength of Iowa, they're not going to be passing the ball a lot. It's going to be run, run, run. Even though it's in a dome, it's going to be run.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, it is.
Yeah, I think the question here really to me is Iowa even going to threaten to score in the game? It's just a matter of how much Michigan can score on their defense.
Absolutely that.
To quote good old JR, this one's going to be a slobber knocker. Look for Michigan to get the win. It's just a matter.
No doubt.
Unfortunately, I agree. But ultimately, I think the NCAA is going to take the win here.
Yeah. I'm going to absolve myself from talking about this next game because you know how I feel. FSU is a 4-point favorite with a backup quarterback
against
going up against
a team that had no business losing to Kentucky this past week, but yet here we are.
I think they were looking ahead to this game. You know how I feel about this one, so I've already said my piece. It's a backup quarterback. I love Tate Rodemaker. Full disclosure, I know his dad, and I've covered him when he was a high school player and when his dad was a coach. I don't know if Florida State can do what they did against the University of South Georgia Gainesville campus and get out the other side the way that they did against Florida, because a 5-6 team is far different than a 10-2 team.
I like Florida State. I love the underdog part of this whole story. I love seeing the backup getting a chance to shine. I think they pull it out, and I think they cover. I'll make a bold statement there.
I just wonder if Tate is okay after the double targeting. I mean, that was, and
we got to check the record book. I don't think I've seen that happen.
Mm-hmm.
And he got back in the game after that.
Yeah, but you're not gonna say no in a situation like that. And obviously, you're also. I mean, if you cleared protocols, great. But I want to see just how healthy he is. That Louisville is going to put absolute pressure on him all day long. They're going to probably put numerous blitzes on him and try to figure out if you can pick him up, those kinds of things. So we'll see what goes down there. But yeah, I think it's going to be a long day either way. And so this will be the game that determines what we talked about in the first block, whether or not, if Florida State wins it 13-0, are they still number 4? I doubt it.
It's going to depend a little bit, I think, on how the games shake out.
Yeah, so it's going to have a bunch of different plot points working its way through.
There's a lot of chaos that could happen.
That is true.
Yeah, I look for Florida State to win this game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game.
Yeah,
much like the Florida State-Florida game. And if they can take the air out of the ball a little bit, run the ball on Louisville, a team that has given up some points over the course of the year, I think they got a good chance of winning. Does that vault them over the winner of the Oregon-Washington State? That remains to be seen.
I don't think so.
It's not going to vault them over Michigan. I do not see a scenario where Michigan loses to Iowa. And
except in my happy place.
In your dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And
unless they get an assist from the NCAA.
While I would not rule it out, nor would I be stunned if Alabama beat Georgia in the SEC championship game, I do not expect that to happen.
No.
That would be the king of chaos that rolls out.
Absolutely would.
And at that point, then you have a serious conversation, because you're talking about 1, 2, 3, 5 teams looking for 4 spots. Granted, it's the last year that we're going to have this problem.
Yeah.
God.
You'll just have more problems next year with more
If
teams.
we get nothing but upsets, we're going to have to start next week's podcast with like the Apocalypse Now theme song.
Absolutely. It is. Absolutely.
Or the theme song for Stranger Things, where we're living in the upside down.
Yeah, bizarro world, no question.
Oh my
I
goodness.
believe it's that time.
Guys, you want to put a wrap on things here for this week?
We can football on a budget. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Football on a budget. We only got like
We're going to wrap this segment and go to football on the budget.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm all for it, and I love football on a budget. How are we going to do that?
I think we're going to take the most affordable games.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there'd be one of those.
Well, but I mean, we start with New Mexico State and Liberty, $33 at Williams Stadium. Is that a yes or a no?
That is most definitely a yes.
Yeah.
You talk about chaos. You got an undefeated Liberty.
Mm-hmm.
If we have Armageddon happen,
Mm-hmm.
bing, 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 bing. If we have Armageddon happen and they're one of the few undefeated teams, are they going to make t-shirts like some other Florida schools did?
Absolutely they are. Yeah, Liberty goes 13-0. They're absolutely going to be making the t-shirts.
Now, I like New Mexico State, but I would love to see them finish undefeated and some undefeated teams take a loss on championship weekend.
My
Absolutely.
only hesitation is the fact that I actually lived in Lynchburg, Virginia for a little over a year and a half on my first job in television back in the Stone Ages.
Yeah.
You got to go there just to tour the Jack Daniels factory.
And that's the wrong Lynchburg, Marty.
That's Tennessee.
Oh, wait, whoa. Maybe I've been sampling it. My bad. There is a bar about 10 feet up for me in the man cave.
There you go.
I started thinking Lynchburg lemonade, and my mind just went crazy.
For various assorted non-football related reasons, I have a hard time getting behind Liberty. I would love to see New Mexico State win this game just because of Jerry Kill. I'm not sure I'd pay the amount of money that it would cost to go, though.
$33. That's not
33. That's cheaper than a regular season game anywhere.
bad. Yeah. Oregon and Washington get-in price is $63.
That's actually not bad for a Power 5 championship game.
Okay. I'm buying that. I want you to find anything that's going to be remotely that entertaining for $61 in Vegas. The only thing you're going to get that's more entertaining than that is like a buffet for less than that money. You got to buy that all day long.
Or
And it's the last one probably.
Yeah.
Or ride at the Spear.
Yeah.
It's worth it going just to stare at the Sphere. I
Yeah.
don't got to sell this one. This one sells itself.
Yes, absolutely. Let's see. Then you've got Marty with Oklahoma State and Texas. The get-in, even though you've already gotten in, get-in's $140. Not happening.
But can you make money if you resell?
Okay. I'll tell you, I'll answer that in a couple days. I've got a couple for that one. You do have the WWE sponsorship, so you might get some wrestling, a little wrestling push there. You might get some good selfies with however they're going to promote that outside. Plus, you got Nelly at halftime.
Little country grammar would solve everything. Ford Field for the Maction, $12.
Well, I got family in Detroit, so I could stay for free. I'm going to take that. And that's actually our regular football on a budget price.
Yeah.
It's $12 right now. That might actually go down. And
Yeah.
I'm going to go Toledo on that one. They've been having a hell of a year.
Yes.
Because of the price, I have some interest in that. Detroit, not exactly a target destination, but there's some stuff to do there.
Yep. Not happening is the get-in price for the SEC championship, $304.
Nope.
Not part of our deal. Now, since we don't know the teams for the Mountain West Championship, do I need to break out my computer and look up prices on it? It might give us an answer.
I think so.
Sure it's TBD.
Mm-hmm.
Price TBD, teams TBD. Come on, Mountain West. Join the Pac-12 now because they've got their stuff together.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're going to be known as Conference TBD.
I believe you got the new name of the conference.
That's absolutely correct. Get-in price in New Orleans is $30. They moved the decimal point.
Yeah, I could do that.
I'm in. If I sell my tickets to the Big 12 championship, there's a good chance we go down and see that game.
There you go.
you sell your tickets to the Big 12 championship, if you have 2 tickets and just use the price that they're currently going for, you can actually buy 4 tickets to this game.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Oh, yes.
No price yet on App State and Troy. My guess is that it really would be football on a budget.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I tell you what, I'm buying.
Okay.
Nobody
Uh,
out the fan bases for these 2 teams making the trip to Troy, Alabama, because it's really hard to get to.
Mm-hmm. Go to Montgomery, drive an hour. That's basically what it is.
My goodness. And I'm also going to take Troy in that game just because App State took Youngstown State out of the playoffs a few years back.
Okay. And then get-in price for the B1G is $71, and get-in price for the ACC is $49.
I don't think the Michigan one qualifies. It's not going to be quality football unless you like defense.
But it'll be over quickly.
Mm,
Well,
Because if both teams run the ball,
will expand it.
I'm fighting the urge to do really bad jokes off that.
Yes.
if both teams run the ball 40 times, you're likely to be out of there in 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but it's on Fox. So there's going to be a touchdown.
And
True.
There's going to be a commercial break.
there'll be an extra
Then there's going to be
and a
the kick, then a commercial break.
Mm-hmm.
That needs to be outlawed, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no,
Get rid of targeting and make that a rule that you can't do that.
they do it in the NFL. It was only a matter of time before they do it in college.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Got to pay for those rights fees somehow.
Absolutely.
Now for the ACC, I think that qualifies for us. I'm buying.
Okay. Charlotte. All right.
I'm
Go to
buying too. I'm taking John with me if he's not going already.
You're dragging me. You're going to stop by the office. You're going to stop by Office HD. I'm dragging your ass to Charlotte.
I'll get a layover in Atlanta, pick you up, put you in the carry-on. I've got a real big duffel bag. We'll poke a couple holes in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Get
And
on
hopefully by then we'll know who's playing in the Mountain West Championship.
Yes, absolutely. So there's football on a budget for another week.
Woohoo, guys! I don't think we have anything else to talk about this week because we don't know what coaching changes are going to actually happen.
No.
But that several of them will happen.
Mm-hmm.
We may have to do a Mountain West special if they finally
If the
start
computer,
typing things in
yes,
and
then
figuring it out.
Then so stay tuned for our 1AA D2 and D3 show where we go through the playoffs there as well.
Real football. And I got to say, congrats to Youngstown State.
There you go.
They have put on a nice show. And I gotta give ESPN Plus credit. They actually put on a decent broadcast and had crowd noise and everything.
Wow. And congrats to the Pottsville Maroons, who are still your 1925 world champions in pro football.
What a maroon.
I tell you. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and put a lid on this. For OSG Nelson, for Brother Marty, I am Brother Phil. We are part of the Online Sports Guys team. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We will be back next week with your college football playoff podcast and perhaps an inkling of what's going to happen in the bowl game future. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great week, everybody. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Please like and subscribe. And go to our website, onlinesportsguys.com.